What is going on, everybody? It's Jets Central coming back with some breaking, shocking NFL news, at least for me. I did not see this move happening, not in the least, especially at this point in the season. But the Carolina Panthers have just went out and fired head coach Ron Rivera. I'm looking at how the Panthers season kind of played out in the past couple seasons, and I can understand the frustration by not only the Panthers fans but by the Panthers organization as a whole. Obviously, Sunday was the last straw for Rivera, and optically speaking, it's not a good look for Riverboat. To play at home against in my eyes, the worst team in football, the Washington Redskins, who are riddled with injuries. They have a rookie quarterback who, quite frankly, should not be playing. With that head coach, too, Callahan, who won't be there, he's not going to be the future of the Washington Redskins. You let that team go to your house and beat you down like that, optically speaking, it's just, it doesn't look good. It does not look good. So I can understand the frustration, and it obviously boiled over, and they parted ways with Riverboat. But with that being said, I still like Rivera. I still think he's a very, very smart defensive NFL mind. I don't think anybody can discredit that. Obviously, he did a fantastic job with the Chargers way back in the day. But when you take a step back and you look at his complete body of work with Carolina, obviously he didn't get the job done. He came close. Okay, he came really close. But Rivera's a guy who, in my opinion, always seemed to maximize every single player he had on the defensive side of the football, whether it's defensive line, linebacker, safety. Didn't really matter what position you were, whether you're, a late round pick like a Josh Norman, whether you're an undrafted player, whether you're a first round pick like a Luke Kuechly. It always seemed to me like Rivera maximized what he had on the defensive side of the football. Schematically speaking, I think he's great defensively. Every year you can always count on the Carolina Panthers defense being stout. The 4-3 defense, obviously Sean McDermott learned under Ron Rivera, but here's the thing with the well, actually, you know what, before I get into that, let me just kind of finish my thoughts on Coach Ron. I do think he's going to get another opportunity pretty soon, whether it's with the New York Giants, who I think would be a great fit for him, or hey, I mean, maybe even the Washington Redskins, right, the team that just beat Carolina. I could see him fitting in over there too. Washington has a lot of nice defensive pieces like Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen, Montez Sweat, Ryan Kerrigan. Who else? Landon Collins, possibly Reuben Foster coming back from a pretty bad injury. But I digress. The point is, I like Ron. I still think he's a solid NFL coach. He's not a horrible, bottom of the barrel, just complete bottom feeder of the NFL. I mean, we have teams across the league who are just, quite frankly, they just have embarrassments as head coaches. You look at teams like the New York Giants, Pat Shurmur, the New York Jets with Adam Gase. I mean, there's teams out there that have Cleveland Browns, Freddie Kitchens. Like, there are teams out there that if Ron Rivera were to step in today, they would be much better off. Much better off. Okay, so Rivera's still a good coach. I love him on the defense side of the football. But there's always been, question marks as far as offense. What's going on with Cam Newton? Did he develop Cam Newton properly? Can never really get consistent on offense. I mean, yeah, he had the amazing season when they went to the Super Bowl. They won the NFC and stuff like that. And that, it was a close matchup against Denver. It wasn't like Denver blew the doors off Carolina like 48-3 or anything like that. Carolina was still a formidable team. But it just kind of seemed like maybe the moment was a little bit too big for, obviously it was Rivera's first time there as a head coach. It was Cam Newton's first time there as a head coach. Whereas, going up against the Denver Broncos, a team that's kind of been there, done that, it just didn't really match up that well. But nonetheless, I still like Ron. I still think he's going to get another another opportunity somewhere. I don't really know where it's going to be. I would say right now the perfect fit for him is the New York Giants. I think a team that has the good ownership like the Giants do, and kind of get back to playing that defensive style, that kind of hard-nosed 4-3, pin your ears back and go, play stout, don't really let up any breathing room. Instead of having that like bend, don't break mentality like New England has, it's we're not bending at all. Why do we want to bend? I like that style of defense. And I think Ron, with the players that they have on defense with either the Giants or the Redskins, I think would be a fantastic fit. But as far as the Panthers go as an organization, this is kind of weird, right? This is kind of, you're kind of in no man's land. You're kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out the door, don't really have an identity, you know, because you fired a pretty solid defensive mind. You guys were obviously running the ball effectively this season. What direction do you want to go? Do you want to bring in a new head coach that's going to help maybe develop Kyle Allen? Are you going to bring Cam Newton back? Are you going to stick with the running game? Christian McCaffrey, he's one of the best in the league. Do you want to get one of these younger offensive minds in the building? The good news is for the Panthers, there's a lot of viable options. I mean, there's so many guys that you could look at. There's so many qualified candidates to be head coaches, or NFL head coaches rather, in this day and age, right? So whether you're talking about like a Joe Brady from an LSU or, even a Lincoln Riley, Matt Rule coming from college, there are guys, Mike McCarthy. There's a bunch of different guys that you can look at right now if you're Carolina, and you can have like a laundry list of names that you can interview, and you can go through. It's not like 1 or 2 guys, and the Panthers are just firing Rivera now to hopefully get an interview. So we'll see where the Panthers go as an organization. But they have a lot of question marks. Who's going to be the head coach? What's the identity of this football team going to be? Who's going to be playing quarterback for this team next season? If it's not Cam Newton, do you feel comfortable with Kyle Allen moving forward? If not, okay, we have to reevaluate. Do we go after a Teddy Bridgewater in free agency? Do we try to pull off a trade for Nick Foles, which I would not do? What's going on with Trubisky? Do we draft one? Do we maybe hope that a Justin Herbert falls to the middle of the first round, which I think he might? Maybe try to go for a Jacob Eason later on. Do we trade up? So the Panthers have a lot of question marks. Really, really intrigued by this team. I still think they need to get some pieces on the outside, right? Especially, really got to solidify the wide receiver position. Yes, they have DJ Moore. Yes, they have a couple other gadget guys, Curtis Samuel. But find an identity, find the head coach, get the quarterback situation figured out, and move forward. The Falcons, what's going on with them? They're kind of a weird team. What's going on with the Buccaneers? They're kind of a weird team. The Saints are fantastic, but hey, I mean, if you're really only... The only serious threat in the division is one team, the Saints. That's, you kind of have to take that. I mean, this is the NFL. I should know. I'm a Jet fan. I look at the Patriots every year. So it is what it is. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section regarding this move. And as always, thanks so much for watching. And go Jets.